counterattack reportedly left an unconfirmed number of people killed that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin says are people who engage in attacks against U.S. forces and who are loyal to Iran's regime and Revolutionary Guard.
Fox's Evan Brown. There are no injuries or damage reported after another rocket attack on a U.S. base in Syria. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, from North Dakota's News Authority, Jesse Rostvent, K-Fire Radio News.
Good morning. Will be a little warmer today. Temperatures still remaining below average for most areas. Highs expected to range from around 30 degrees across southern Canada and the Red River Valley to near 50 from southeastern Montana into western South Dakota. This weekend should be cooler once again, as highs mainly ranging from the 20s north and east to the 30s southwest. Dry weather expected until chances for snow begin to increase in southwestern parts of the region Sunday night. North Dakota lawmakers advancing restrictions to the process to amend state constitution. State House passing a resolution yesterday that would limit citizen-initiated measures to a single subject. Proposal would also raise signature threshold for ballot placement to 5% of the state's most recent census. Initiatives would have to be approved at both the June primary and November general elections by majority votes. Residency requirement and payment or gift ban were removed from the measure in committee. North Dakota lawmakers considering a plan that would add an extra 20 days to the session. Measure would allow up to 20 extra days in the legislative session for business to be conducted. Resolution would need a 2/3 majority vote in the House and Senate before it can be placed on next year's ballot for approval by voters. Lawmakers currently have 80 days every 2 years to complete their work. Senator John Hoeven once again speaking on the Senate floor about the need to secure the southern border.
This is an ongoing crisis, and it needs to be addressed. Our nation continues to face unprecedented crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border, and one that's due to the Biden administration's policies. Pure and simple. It is a function of the Biden administration policies. It's amazing. We've had DHS Secretary Mayorkas in front of our committees, and we ask him, what are you doing to stem the flow of illegal immigration at the border? And he sits there and he tells us, we have operational control. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely wrong. For fiscal year 2022, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, encountered almost 2.4 million individuals attempting to illegally cross the southern border. 2.4 million crossing illegally. That's operational control? And for him to sit there and look at us and say, we have control. 2.4 million last year crossing illegally. This is an increase of 37% from fiscal year 21 and a 419% increase, 4 times as many as in 2020. Additionally, since October, CBP has reported that over 1 million individuals from more than 140 different countries, have been encountered attempting to illegally cross the southern border. Just last week, Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz told a House committee that the administration does not have operational control of the border. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz.
Nikki Ensel is appealing her conviction in the 2019 death of her husband to the North Dakota Supreme Court. Ensel was found guilty on 3 conspiracy counts in October and sentenced in February to life in prison. She has a new attorney who is arguing whether there was sufficient evidence to convict her of 3 conspiracy charges related to the killing of Chad Ensel and the intentionally set fire at Ensel's home. Defense attorneys for a woman accused in the killing of Minot College student Anita Knutson want access to more forensic evidence in the case. Nicole Rice's defense team filed a motion this week asking for an updated DNA report from the state crime lab. Rice's attorneys say the DNA reports they received don't indicate that a male suspect was tested in the case. Knutson was found stabbed to death in her off-campus apartment in June of 2007. Rice was arrested in March of last year and charged with felony murder. 8:36 here at K-Fire. We'll take another look at weather after this.
It's March, time for the spring sale. Todd Mitchell for J&R Vacuum and Sewing, Riccar Vacuum.
Weather forecast, a bit of patchy fog this morning. Clouds and sun for today, high 32. It'll be cloudy tonight with a low 16. Clouds and cold for tomorrow, high at 28. Mostly cloudy, very cold tomorrow night with the low dropping to 7. Clouds and cold again on Sunday, the high at 27. And then cloudy and cold Monday, the high again at 27. Plan with confidence. Check AccuWeather.com. Download the free app today. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Steve Williams.
Again, some areas of patchy dense fog this morning over much of western and central North Dakota. Could be visibility down to a quarter mile or less at times. So just be prepared for rapidly changing visibilities possibly, and fog should dissipate by mid to late morning. Yesterday's high in Bismarck was 29, the low temperature of 3 below zero. Average high and low this time of year, 45 and 23. Record high of 79 set on this day in 1939. The record low of 11 below set in 1965. Sunset tonight at 8:01. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:36. Right now in Bismarck, mostly cloudy sky, northeast winds of 6 miles per hour, 11 degrees, feels like 1. I'm Jesse Rostbat, K-Fire Radio, your news and weather authority.
Let Mitchell make your mornings. Todd Mitchell! It's Mitchell in the Morning with Todd Mitchell. Weekdays from 5:30 to 9 a.m. on K-Fire 550, 99.7 FM, and iHeartRadio.
8:39 here at K-Fire. Mitchell in the Morning without Todd Mitchell here this morning. He'll be back at some point next week. As we finish off this week here, the final 20 minutes of this show, we'll step aside and JD and Clay from Guns in the 701 podcast you can find on the iHeartRadio app, and we'll hear from them coming up.
Homemade Niffler Soup. Scott.
Sickness can spread fast. But with Lysol, you can go into protect mode and prevent cold and flu germs from spreading any further. For the things you touch, nothing kills more viruses on more surfaces than Lysol disinfectant spray. And when it comes to your laundry, adding Lysol laundry sanitizer kills 99.9% of illness-causing bacteria. Lysol, what it takes to protect. Use as directed.
Everyone loves TV Dad.
On the next TV Dad, presented by Progressive, TV Dad meets the prom date.
So you're here to take my daughter out, huh?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm only gonna save this once. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say take care of my little girl or something.
She's a kickboxer. She could take care of herself.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
OSF On-Call Urgent Care makes it easy to get affordable, quick, convenient care for minor illnesses and injuries when and where you need it. Reserve an appointment online or walk in for care at an OSF On-Call Urgent Care Clinic on Chicago's South Side. We're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, even on holidays. Virtual visits are available 24/7, 365. Get started today or find a clinic near you at osfoncall.org/urgent care.
Every generation's got something to say. Doesn't matter if you're hip-hop, indie rock, Otis, Elvis, the Man in Black, or Reverend Green. Every generation ends up here in Memphis, standing in front of the mic with a chance to say something that'll last. Memphis does it different. And how the beat drops, a voice that insists on being heard, the way a rhythm section holds the pocket when the chorus comes home. Now you're dancing and you can't even remember when you started. Visit Memphis. Add your part to the song. Everything sounds better here. You will too.
In this week's Marketers Report, Raja Manar, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer of MasterCard, talks about measurement.
Measuring sonic and sonic branding and sonic initiatives across the board, the principles of measurement are the same, but the parameters that you measure are different. We measured, and what we find is our investment is paying for itself in oodles. We have been partnering with iHeart across multiple platforms, both for brand enhancement as well as for performance marketing. I think the cut-through of the message and the recall of the brand are much higher. Also, it has been very beneficial for us to integrate some of our campaigns into the native content of iHeart. It has been a very nice partnership, and it continues to be very strong into the future.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, conversations, trusted influencers, insights, and data you need to grow. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
.842 here at K-Fire. Mitchell in the morning without Todd Mitchell here this morning, but we continue on without him. He'll be gone, or he'll be back, I hope, back next week. Later in the day on Monday, and back on this show on Tuesday is the plan for Todd Mitchell. But we continue on our usual plan around this time every Friday. Great day for us to end the week. We check in with the guys from Guns of the 701 podcast, which you can find on the iHeart Radio app. JD and Clay, good morning, guys.
Well, good morning, Jesse. Morning.
All right, guys. I know you're just kind of checking here through your podcast that you have up here this week. It looks like plenty of discussions about what's going on within the legislature.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there, too. Go ahead, Jamie.
So I was going to... All right, well, I was going to say in our state one, yeah, but as far as gun-related stuff, not much going on as of right now. I think there's only a couple bills left that still haven't, they're still kind of hanging around in the committees and that, and, of course, the baiting bill. But speaking of bills, we got a Virginia delegate, Marie March. She's got a new idea, Clay. It's she wants to prosecute members of Congress who write gun control laws. What do you think of that?
Wow, I guess freedom of speech and, our republic and our legislative process don't mean nothing to her. Well, of course, it shouldn't surprise us with a Democrat, should it?
No, you're backwards. She wants to prosecute members of Congress who write gun control laws.
Oh, I misunderstood what you said there. Gee, see, now
yeah,
on air.
Maybe you flipped sides on me there for a second.
We'd have to discontinue the show, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
then if it's going to be that way,
she says to. Go ahead.
I was saying, if it's going to be that way, well, of course, Second Amendment is our, Second Amendment, part of the Bill of Rights, and I've always wondered how that could even be constitutional to begin with if they're trying to actually write bills and legislative processes that would actually be unconstitutional. So, yeah, I guess I think it's maybe a valiant effort, that's for sure.
Well, she's kind of on the same lines you are here. She says reasoning for this is James Madison, who wrote the Constitution, and Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, both authored another key piece of legislation that passed, that being the 1798 Virginia and Kentucky resolutions. In these resolutions, Jefferson said states must nullify any and all unconstitutional actions by the government, and Madison said it is the duty of state delegates to do so. I mean, it sounds like it makes pretty good sense to me. I don't think it's actually going to go anywhere, but I think it's a good idea. And I like stuff like that trying to get passed just so I can see who's actually going to vote in favor of our constitutional rights.
Well, I've always kind of said that, when they say these, bring that bill, it has no chance of getting through. That's fine. It does a couple things. A, it shows us who the enemies of our country are, especially on the constitutional level. And it also takes up time from them tyrants, if they're going to, be that way, of actually being able to take up more time trying to bring crazy bills like you were talking about there. Mm-hmm. It's got actually a great effect that way. Take up the time and waste theirs, and of course, it's going to be one of them things where it's going to make sure that constitutional bills don't get hurt, and it's going to give us our list of people we need to defeat in the next elections.
Love it. What do you got going today then, Clay?
Well, I had to bring up we're hearing so much about the Idaho firing squad. Have you been hearing about that?
Yeah.
So, Idaho decided, it passed the House. There was a bill introduced that came forth by Senator Doug Ricks of Rexburg. He's a Republican. He co-sponsored this bill along with Senator Todd Larkey out of Nampa. And they're bringing back the firing squad. Now, I've heard a lot of reports, oh, gosh, you can't have that. What are they doing that for? And it's going to be a choice. No. So after I read a little bit more into it and actually read the bill, really all the bill is saying is that right now lethal injection would be the priority. That would be the choice of execution for those that have been convicted to death row. If that's not available, say the drugs ain't available, it's not able to take place, and they cannot actually serve the death warrant and carry it out, then it's going to be a choice. The director who takes care of that of the prison system, basically like the warden, he would have the option then to use the method of firing squad, because most likely we can get that done. So that way they can actually carry out the death warrant, which in Idaho law, it can't be done any later than 5 days after the issuance of a death warrant. So that was kind of the premise behind this thing. Of course, you had your gamut of people who were against it, Democrats mostly, of course. I mean, basically you have like Senator Dan Foreman out of Moscow out there in Idaho. He was a retired police officer, U.S. military combatant veteran. He was against of it, of course. Then you have Senator Melissa Wintrow out of Boise, not a Democrat, and she didn't want it because she was asking her fellow lawmakers to exercise restraint as a model to citizens on how to avoid contributing to a culture that becomes numb and distant from violence. No, I disagree, Mrs. Wintrow.
Wow.
That is a just, and as far as I'm concerned, a just punishment. There's always been the argument, is execution actually going to be one of the things that deters crime? I don't think it deters crime, but it is a just punishment. If you have been found guilty of killing somebody, and I think mainly in the first degree, because, first degree murder is illegal, and you had to think it out, you had to actually plan it, you had the intent. There was no doubt if you're found guilty on that, you had the intent. They proved it in a court of law by your peers. You went probably through the appellate process, and you should serve with your life that sentence. That would be your due justice. And so I got no problems with the death penalty as a just, basically a just term of punishment. Go ahead.
Maybe I'm weird, Clay. I don't have sympathy for people who murder other people.
I don't either. I absolutely do not either.
I couldn't care less how they put them down, to be honest with you. And I think firing squad is just fine and dandy with me.
I think it's probably cheaper, too. And in this day and age of inflation, we probably better make sure we cut all costs everywhere, right?
Yeah. All the cost of ammo, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so large. Yeah. So, anyway, I thought I'd better explore that. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I got on that subject. You got another one for us?
All right. Well, I guess we're coming up on break here, Jesse said. So I guess we'll go with every Wednesday. You can catch our podcast, our live stream. It's on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and www.gunsinthe701.com. And that's at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 Central. And we'll also, after that's over, Clay will upload that to iHeart, and we'll have it on there and any of these other podcast platforms if you want to look at those. But we recommend going on iHeart. And then every Monday at 11:30 a.m. Mountain, 12:30 p.m. Central, you can catch us on KFYR Plus in the crosshairs. With the host of that is Jay Dillon.
Yeah, again, you just mentioned it there. You got plenty of content. If you've missed some stuff, I'm scrolling through it right now. You can go back, iHeartRadio app, and listen to everything you guys have talked about, which has been plenty. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thanks, Jesse. Have a great weekend.
Guys, from JD and Clay from Guns in the 701 podcast, you can listen to on the iHeart Radio app. We talk to them about 8:40 every Friday morning, which means it's a Friday morning. We're getting out of here for the weekend. We'll celebrate some birthdays.